In the past, Arisu often spent nights listening to a streamer called Apollo. At that time, her voice was his only support. Her streams were small and private back then, sometimes only the two of them talking. Every night, she ended her stream by saying she loved her listeners. This simple line got deeply stuck in Arisu's heart. When the new school year started, a nervous teacher got stuck while making an important announcement that Foreign Girls Academy had merged with Foreign Boys, and now the school was mixed. Before the teacher could finish, Arisu suddenly interrupted, clearly unhappy with the weak introduction. He confidently introduced himself to the class and said openly that he would leave Japan one day, so he could not accept any mistakes. He bowed respectfully at the end, but then surprised everyone by saying he was only 99% perfect. To become complete, he claimed he needed to hear all the girls in the class say they loved him. During the break, the boys gathered around Arisu and angrily accused him of ruining their reputation and making the girls careful of them. Arisu saw no problem with what he did and said they should be thankful. At the same time, a blonde girl came to him and openly flirted, thinking he was from a rich family. When Arisu stepped closer to her, she got shocked by his boldness and stepped back. After listening carefully to her voice, Arisu said clearly that her voice had no effect. Looking at the time, he suddenly announced that he needed to go to the bathroom and explained that he finished at the same time every day. As he left, the girls whispered about how strange he was, while the boys explained that Arisu was looking for a girl he only knew by her voice. Arisu heard their talk in the hallway and listened carefully to the girls' voices, but none matched the one he was searching for. As he walked on, he got a message from his mother. Before, such notifications used to fill him with happiness because they usually meant Apollo's stream had started. At that moment, Arisu was surprised when he heard Rika quietly saying behind him that she loved him, and she joked that break was almost over. She also pointed out that he still had not gone to the toilet. Panicking, Arisu quickly ran off to finish his business. During lunch, Arisu was distracted and kept repeating Rika's voice in his head. Then suddenly, a girl's voice echoed from the school intercom. The boys around him immediately got happy that a girl was making the announcements. But Arisu felt something different. Without any warning, he said he suddenly remembered something important and quickly left. He ran through the halls toward where he thought the broadcast room was, because he suspected this voice could be Apollo's. From past conversations, he knew she should be close to his age and lived in the same prefecture. He also remembered she wanted to study at the Amu Institute with a sea view. That's why Arisu had purposely joined Foreign Boys High School, because he knew by high school it would become mixed. When he reached the broadcast room, he opened the door with a bang. Inside, 4 girls looked at him in surprise. They immediately scolded him for coming in the middle of their broadcast, and Rika quickly told Nene to mute the mic. As the girls kept scolding him, Arisu listened carefully to their voices and noticed that all 4 matched Apollo's in different ways. Rika's tone was similar. Shinobu's way of speaking, her ups and downs, and pronunciation sounded the same. Ekko's way of talking reminded him of Apollo's soft and whispery streams, and Nene's angry voice also sounded like her. Arisu felt disappointed because he thought he would recognize Apollo right away just by her voice, but now he could not decide which one of them she could be. Then the girls asked him if he ever planned to become a pro. Arisu got confused, so they explained that they had joined the broadcasting club to make a career with their voices. Shinobu shared her dream that she wanted to become an anchor, and then the other girls also started talking about their wishes. These talks reminded Arisu that Apollo had also once mentioned a similar dream. During this, Shinobu casually said she already knew him because of his strange self-introduction, but Nene kicked her and angrily scolded her, calling him a creep and asking why he made such a shameless demand. Arisu explained himself and said he was looking for someone important. Ekko asked if that person was her, then showed her VTuber model and said her shyness was part of her persona. Rika quickly jumped in and teased Arisu, saying he came all this way just to see her. When everyone looked surprised, Arisu calmly admitted he did, and then directly asked all 4 if any of them was Apollo. The girls looked at him confused, and some even asked if he was talking about the chocolate brand. Arisu looked at them and believed they were lying. He thought maybe Apollo did not want to reveal herself, and her disappearance from streaming could be connected to this decision. He did not push further and started to leave, thinking he would get enough chances to test them on other days. But the girls told him not to come again, because only club members were allowed inside the broadcast room. Arisu turned back and clearly said that he was a professional in voice work, so he had every right to join the broadcasting club. Nene pointed out that their work had a big problem, which was their equipment was old. Ekko was the first to agree and said the school's equipment was really old, but they could not do much about it. Arisu offered that if they let him join the club, he would give them brand new equipment. The room went quiet, then Shinobu agreed that it sounded like a good deal. Rika also agreed and casually said she liked Arisu's voice. Hearing this, Arisu was surprised. He thanked them and confidently said he would take the club far as president. But Nene angrily said Rika was already their president. Then the girls started thinking about what they should give him in return for the equipment. Rika said she had a great idea. She told Arisu to turn his face the other way. When he turned, Rika and the other girls suddenly surrounded him and all said at once that they loved him. Arisu panicked and immediately said he needed to finish his lunch, then quickly left the room. Outside, Arisu was sure that one of those four was Apollo. In his mind, he remembered Apollo's last stream. At that time, he was the only listener when she ended the broadcast. She told everyone she loved them. Arisu had gathered courage and replied that he loved her too. Remembering this, he felt embarrassed and scolded himself for saying such a thing to a girl he barely knew. One reason he was desperate to find Apollo was that he wanted her to delete that confession. Arisu was sure he would become someone important in the future, and he could not take the risk that something so shameful would be used against him. At the end of the day, the club members celebrated Arisu joining. They made him wear strange party clothes, and even though they were teasing him, Arisu still tried to look thankful. When Nene called him their errand boy, he almost got angry, but Shinobu explained that this was the only way their advisor would approve his membership. Arisu swallowed his pride and said he would do his best as the errand boy. The next day, Arisu looked at his notes and decided he would watch each girl carefully. When he entered the club room, only Shinobu was there, fixing her script for the after-school broadcast. She explained that she often messed up lines, so she marked the hard words. When the broadcast was about to start, she signaled him to stay quiet. Arisu watched carefully and remembered that Shinobu wanted to become a news anchor. She was also the student council vice president and a model student. When Shinobu read the announcements, Arisu was impressed by her clear voice. But as soon as Shinobu reached the marked words in her script, she immediately pronounced them wrong. This happened so many times and so clearly that Arisu could not ignore it. Without thinking, he scolded her, forgetting that the mic was still on. Back in the classroom, Arisu's male classmates warned him not to correct Shinobu. They said her habit of messing up lines was her charm. Arisu found arguing pointless and left them while they kept praising her. In his mind, he moved Shinobu lower on the list of possible Apollos. Sometime later, Arisu overheard Nene excitedly talking about Lilos, a comic that Apollo had mentioned before. Nene was famous for her shiny and energetic personality, and was also popular as a passionate cosplayer. A classmate handed her the comic and asked her to read Lily's dialogue in character. Nene happily agreed. She started reading loudly, and her performance was surprisingly accurate, which even impressed Arisu. Then she suddenly got stuck on a word. Unfortunately, she messed up several more lines and accidentally changed the story. Hearing this, Arisu felt disappointed. When Nene finally noticed him, she loudly scolded him for staring. Arisu tried to explain, but people around already did not like him, so he quietly left. Sitting alone on a stairway, Arisu wondered why it was so hard to recognize Apollo. He thought maybe listening through streams had changed his idea of Apollo's real voice. He was sure Apollo was one of the girls in the broadcasting club, but he understood that voice alone was not enough. He would have to match what he knew about Apollo's personality with each girl. At that moment, Ekko suddenly spoke right next to him, and Arisu got so shocked he fell forward. Ekko quickly apologized and explained she could not see well with colored contact lenses. Arisu remembered that Ekko wanted to become a VTuber. Ekko said she did a small stream at that spot during break. She set up her tablet, and Arisu moved closer to watch. Ekko excitedly greeted her viewers, read a few live comments, and then immediately ended the stream. Arisu was surprised at how short it was, so she explained that break time streams were always short. Even so, Arisu felt disappointed again and made an excuse to leave. He kept wandering around the school and his frustration kept growing. He felt all the club members were too careless. He remembered Apollo and how seriously she said she wanted to use her voice professionally. He remembered he promised Apollo he would learn as much as he could about voice work so he could help her. Both of them promised to move toward the professional world together. Now Arisu wondered if he was the only one who took that promise seriously. Sometime later, Shinobu's voice echoed through the school for announcements. On the other side, Ekko saw Rika doing nothing and scolded her for being slow. Rika apologized, then wondered what Arisu really thought about them. Suddenly, Arisu's voice echoed over the intercom. The girls panicked and ran to the broadcast room. When they arrived, they saw Arisu openly calling the broadcasting club careless and telling the students they should not treat the girls like princesses. If Apollo was among them, she should remember their promise. Since he did not know which girl she was, he decided he would make all their dreams come true. He announced on the broadcast that he would work day and night to make the broadcasting club real professionals. As soon as he finished, he was immediately kicked out of the room so the girls could take over the broadcast. He got a notification on his phone that Apollo was live. Arisu immediately started listening. Apollo greeted him warmly and said she was happy he was listening, and she was always thankful to him, even when her viewers were very few. She apologized and said she still could not reveal herself. Then she admitted that whenever she told her listeners she loved them, she was really talking to him. Arisu listened quietly and kept looking at the broadcast room door. The girls inside continued their broadcasts, so Arisu looked at his phone. Apollo's message confirmed his suspicion that she was a member of the broadcasting club. He thought about going back inside, but finally decided not to. He left with the intention that he would find her and keep their promise. The next morning, Arisu gathered the girls at the beach for early morning jogging and explained that running was the best training for the voice. Shinobu saw a seagull flying with an earbud stuck in its beak. Arisu recognized it as his own and suddenly ran in the opposite direction to catch it. The girls were surprised at how fast he could run even backwards. After jogging, the girls were shocked that Arisu was not even out of breath. Nene scolded him not to try to become their personal coach. Arisu calmly took off his sunglasses and said he was the only man who could make them professionals. Nene got ready to argue again, but Shinobu interrupted and said they really had been lazy. Shinobu also said they had already talked about exercising together, so this training was fine for everyone. Then Rika stepped forward and directly asked Arisu if they could trust their future to him. Arisu looked at her carefully and said he really wanted them all to succeed. Nene told him to prove it. Arisu agreed, but first said they should have breakfast. Hearing this, the girls got nervous and started heading back to the club room. Arisu asked why they were running away, so Nene snapped that they were sweaty and needed to change clothes first. After changing, they all met at a diner. There, Arisu gave each of them a notebook with notes inside, listing their weaknesses and specific ways to improve. He explained he had prepared each notebook personally, so every training plan was different based on their needs. The girls were impressed by the detail, but Nene got confused seeing the huge pile of reading exercises in her notebook. The girls kept looking at Arisu's notes and noticed that each one had clear goals that would take them a step closer to their dream. Rika was surprised to see she had to sell at least 50 CDs during live performances. Arisu proudly explained that all these goals were made to build their confidence. There was silence for a moment, then Rika asked Arisu if he had ever played an instrument himself. He admitted he had not. Rika said that singing and performing in front of an audience took a lot of courage. Arisu still insisted she follow his plan and said live performance was something she had to face. Rika asked if Arisu had ever been nervous. He immediately said nervousness did not run in his family. Rika stood up, took his face in both hands, and calmly called him a liar. She thought he only talked big and saw no reason to listen to him. After saying this, she quietly left the diner. Arisu got confused, so Nene explained he had made Rika angry. She said Rika was so talented, she wrote her own music, so listening to a lecture from someone with no experience felt insulting to her. While the girls were talking, they suddenly noticed Arisu was missing. Actually, he was bent under the table, shaken by Rika's words. After a while, he started laughing and sat up again, saying the only way forward was to listen to Rika's performance. The next Wednesday after classes, Arisu went to the schoolyard. He had heard Rika did mini concerts there every week, and many girls who were fans gathered. As soon as the fans saw Arisu, they immediately told him to stay back. He tried to explain he was Rika's clubmate, but the crowd did not want to listen. Before things got worse, Rika looked at the crowd and said she was nervous. Arisu stopped in shock because this was exactly the line Apollo used to say before singing. When Rika started playing one of her original songs, Arisu kept watching her, and she pulled both the crowd and him toward her. At that moment, Arisu's mind went to the past, and he remembered how Apollo used to sing on her streams. The memories came back. The evenings spent listening to Apollo were the best moments of his life. As Rika kept singing, it suddenly felt very real to Arisu that she could really be Apollo. When Rika finished her first song, Arisu realized her similarity to Apollo was much greater than the other girls. In the end, Rika announced she would take one last song request. When the girls shouted different requests with excitement, Rika looked at her bag full of her original compositions, then glanced at Arisu for a moment. She thought to herself she really did not want Arisu to hear her songs. After the concert ended, she said goodbye to her fans and came to Arisu. With a teasing smile, she asked if his heart was with her. Now, after hearing her performance, Arisu immediately said yes and apologized for doubting her. He said her live performances were sure to be successful. Rika's face turned hard, and she said she did not need to hear that from him, then walked away. Several days passed and Rika started feeling uneasy when she noticed she had not seen Arisu anywhere. She heard noise from the yard and ran there. She saw girls gathered around Arisu and he was trying to defend himself while they were complaining. As soon as Arisu saw her, he greeted her and explained he was performing. He said he had practiced so he could prove her wrong. Rika could not say anything to that, but she noticed Arisu's hand was wrapped in bandages. Rika appreciated Arisu's determination. She apologized to the girls for forgetting to tell them that today's performance would be a duet with Arisu. Then she got on stage with him, and Arisu was clearly confused. Rika assured him he could play whatever he wanted, she would support him. After the performance, Rika joked about how rough their concert was and asked if he finally felt nervous. Even after all that, Arisu stubbornly refused to admit it. Rika enjoyed it, so she suddenly put her ear to his chest. Arisu was caught completely off guard and could not move. Rika smiled when she heard his heart beating fast. On another day after classes, Nene was the first to leave the club room. Ekko said maybe she was going to do something suspicious. Arisu reminded her that her goal was to pass the language exam. Nene cursed him in anger and slammed the clubroom door. Arisu suspected Nene might be getting into trouble, but Shinobu calmly assured him she was not doing anything wrong. Still, Arisu was not satisfied and decided to follow Nene. He saw Nene going into an empty classroom and quietly came near the door. He saw Nene reading a comic out loud. Her voice was surprisingly soft and sweet, but something felt wrong in her acting. Arisu could not stop himself, slid the door open, and directly said her acting was terrible. He looked at the cover and realized it was a romance manga he had never heard of. Nene was shocked at his ignorance and loudly said Knightly Love was the hottest comic right now. She quickly started explaining the story with excitement, which was about forbidden love between a knight and a princess. Nene described her favorite scene, where the princess pretended to brush dirt off the knight's armor to hide her feelings, and when no one was looking, she secretly kissed his helmet. She got so lost in her explanation that she did not even notice when Arisu got so close to her. At that moment, Arisu noticed a message on the comic cover about auditions for its anime adaptation. When her secret was found out, Nene insisted she needed to practice alone. Arisu refused and said now her success was his responsibility, so he had every right to stay there. When Nene still did not accept his help, Arisu started sharing his own embarrassing memories one by one, and his face turned red as he talked. He said if she felt embarrassed, he would also be embarrassed with her. Seeing Arisu's seriousness, Nene finally sat down and explained she wanted to audition. The problem was that she had never been in a relationship, so she did not know how to act it. When she accused Arisu of not taking her seriously, Arisu calmly said she needed experience. Without any warning, Arisu got down on one knee, took her hand, and asked her to be his girlfriend. Nene froze, then immediately exploded in surprise. Arisu explained he was just acting out a line from the comic. He told her to accept his confession so she could get used to acting in a relationship before the audition started. Nene stubbornly refused, but Arisu did not give up. He said if she was not ready to act for just 3 weeks to prepare for the role, it meant she was not taking her dream seriously. From Nene's face, Arisu understood he had found the right point. The next day, they came to school holding hands, and the whole student body was immediately shocked. Nene was clearly nervous while Arisu looked happy, and he even started quoting comic lines directly. At one point, he pulled her close and casually said he could carry her on his back. Nene's face turned red when she remembered that in the last chapter of the comic, there was also a kiss between the two leads. She started thinking, maybe Arisu planned to act out the whole story. News of their relationship quickly reached the broadcasting club. They accepted it on the surface, but something felt strange. As time passed, the club noticed Arisu and Nene fought more than they showed love. By the 19th day, it was clear they kept arguing and did not look like lovers at all. Shinobu thought this meant they had gotten closer and more comfortable with each other. On the 20th day, Arisu and Nene found themselves alone in the same empty classroom. The deadline was near, and only the kiss scene was left. First, Nene worried about her chapped lips. Then her thoughts got mixed up, and she started to suspect Arisu did all this just to kiss her. She was about to yell at him when she saw Arisu quietly reading the comic carefully. At that moment, she understood he really wanted to help her. She admitted to herself he was a better actor than her, and working with him had made her better. Getting herself ready, Nene fixed her lips and fully expected Arisu to start the kiss. But he calmly told her to rest well for the audition. Nene was shocked and asked if they were not going to practice the kiss scene. Arisu said they would not, and explained she should only kiss someone she really loved. Nene did not expect such a thoughtful answer from him. It made her nervous, but she hid it behind anger. She called him an idiot and quickly went to the door. Before she left, Arisu quietly wished her good luck. Nene paused for a moment and admitted she had a little fun during the last 3 weeks. The next day, Nene announced she did not pass the audition. This news hit Arisu so hard that he fainted on the spot because they had prepared so much. Nene quickly said it was not his fault. Arisu apologized for not knowing the result in advance. To hide his sadness, he put the comic over his face. Seeing him like that, Nene remembered her favorite scene. She took the chance, leaned forward, and gave a small kiss to the book on Arisu's face. As she turned to leave, Arisu grabbed her hand and asked if she kissed him. Then, without stopping, he directly asked if she had fallen for him. Nene got angry, lifted him over her shoulder, and loudly said she hated him, then stormed out of the classroom. Her shout surprised the broadcasting club members waiting outside. When they ran in, Arisu was on one knee. Shinobu calmly assured him that Nene was clearly lying. The other girls also looked with knowing smiles because Nene's ears had turned bright red as she left. In the club room, when the girls were changing clothes, they forgot to lock the door. Arisu opened the door and saw them changing. He immediately scolded them for changing clothes without locking the door and said if someone else came in, the reputation could be ruined. Then, he just as quickly apologized for seeing something he should not have seen. Everyone calmed down and started the after-school announcements, this time with Rika taking over after Shinobu messed up her lines again. Later, the girls said they wanted to eat something sweet and told Arisu to come with them, but he refused and said he had something else to do. After he left, Nene suggested they follow him for Payback. Rika hesitated and said she was not really embarrassed by the incident anyway, but Nene said that was because Rika was hiding behind her most of the time. In the end, the girls agreed out of curiosity to know about Arisu's private life. Nene even gave her plan a dramatic name. They followed Arisu out of school and got on the train. Nene tried to take pictures from another car to catch him doing something suspicious, but he was just reading a textbook. Finally, they got off the train and saw Arisu go into a cafe. Nene kept looking for something bad, while the other girls were more interested in what they would order. They entered the cafe and quickly sat at a far seat so Arisu would not see them. Arisu got busy with his work, so the girls wondered why he needed a part-time job. They listened to Arisu's manager and found out he was taking extra shifts to earn more money so he could upgrade the broadcasting club's equipment. The manager showed some worry and asked if he really wanted to spend so much on a club. Arisu answered that he wanted to invest in the 4 members. He said they were still far from professionals, but all 4 of them had very good voices. The girls listened carefully when the cafe manager lightly asked Arisu if he loved them. Arisu denied it and said he only thought of them as important club members. Before the conversation could go further, the girls suddenly announced they were ready to order. Arisu turned to the voices and Nene stepped forward. Arisu tried to figure out why they were there, and Nene started taking his pictures in a strange way. Back at the table, the other girls said this was enough embarrassment and counted it as payback. The next day, Arisu was already in the broadcast room. He worried that Apollo might use those pictures to blackmail him. At that moment, Ekko suddenly entered the room much earlier than expected, so Arisu panicked and wondered if she came to threaten him. But to his surprise, Ekko said she just wanted to show him something embarrassing about herself. She locked the door and slowly started unzipping her jacket, but then just took out her tablet. Arisu sat down and Ekko showed him her VTuber model. She asked if he could help her improve her streams. When they looked at her channel statistics, Arisu noticed her recent streams were not getting many views. They checked the comments and most said her content was getting boring. Arisu directly said maybe it really was boring, and explained her streams were usually very short and often just limited to greeting viewers. Ekko immediately got defensive and said those were only break time streams. She explained her regular content was different and proudly said she designed her VTuber model herself. Arisu calmly said he already knew because he had watched all her streams. Hearing this, Ekko felt weird and called him a stalker. Arisu loudly protested and said she could not blame him for that when she posted everything publicly. Then he pulled up clips of her avatar and directly said the real problem was that her model showed almost no emotion. Ekko complained he was talking too loudly, but Arisu replied her avatar looked lifeless. He explained that with current technology, even a 2D model could be animated with different expressions. Ekko looked down and admitted she was not good at that kind of technical work, and hiring someone to upgrade her VTuber model would be expensive. Arisu started to remind her she already had a reliable person, but Ekko quickly reminded him he was just their errand boy. After that insult, Arisu pulled himself together and firmly said she should leave all the technical work to him. Ekko was about to thank him, but Arisu also said Ekko would have to do her part because she needed to separate her avatar into different layers and give it to him. They immediately got to work. For several days, they coordinated, fixed settings, and even held proper strategy meetings for the upgraded model's debut. One afternoon, when Ekko was sitting alone in the broadcast room, Arisu suddenly opened the door loudly and announced it was time for her new model's debut. He proudly showed her the updated version, but Ekko saw no difference. Arisu explained the model looked the same, but now it could copy her facial expressions through face tracking. He told her to test it by laughing. Ekko laughed, but her expression was weak, and the avatar's smile also looked incomplete. Arisu told her to show more emotion, but Ekko insisted she was already doing that. Seeing her stubbornness, Arisu explained her fans needed a stronger emotional connection, and that meant Ekko had to show a wider range of expressions. Ekko said she always smiled during streams, but Arisu directly said her smile looked fake. Ekko pulled her hood over her head and admitted she was not good at showing her feelings. In response, Arisu calmly locked the door, then suddenly started tickling her and told her to let her feelings out because nobody wanted to watch a poker face streamer. Ekko finally broke free and was about to scold him, but she stopped when she saw Arisu wearing a funny pair of glasses. She immediately turned her face away and covered her face as if she was about to laugh. Arisu tried to get her to look at him again, but in the process, they both lost balance and fell to the floor. Arisu landed on top of her and said the smile she was making right now was the expression her viewers wanted to see. He was about to say more when he heard Nene's voice from outside the window. He looked and saw it was a phone on a video call, weirdly raised on a selfie stick. The girls had tried to get into the room, but the door was locked. When they saw Arisu and Ekko on the floor together, Nene panicked and ran back to bang on the door. Arisu immediately understood it would be very hard to explain the situation. Ekko tried to explain, but her words sounded like Arisu had done something very wrong. The girls decided, without giving him a chance to explain, that they would tie him up. Nene started taking him toward the police station. But before leaving, Ekko gave Arisu a small real smile and thanked him for all the work he did for her. Arisu smiled slightly and said the real charm of a VTuber was that she could show her real personality behind the avatar. Ekko's smile grew bigger, and she promised she would give her viewers a real smile in tomorrow's stream. Arisu wished her good luck, and the other girls also smiled at this scene because it was strange how Arisu still looked cool even while tied up. The next day, excitement grew among viewers because news of Ekko's new model spread. When the stream started, Ekko gave her usual intro, but fans in the chat were confused and saw no big difference from the old model. Inside the broadcast room, Arisu quietly scolded her and said she was even stiffer than usual. Ekko nervously looked at him and admitted she was having trouble. Still, because she was live, she kept going and told her viewers how much work she put into making and upgrading her avatar. Watching her, Arisu understood the problem was not that Ekko could not show her feelings. The problem was she could not do it in front of others. As Ekko's views kept dropping, her expressions got even duller. Arisu watched helplessly as she begged her remaining viewers to stay and said she just needed a little time to adjust her model settings. Watching her like this, Arisu started thinking maybe something painful happened in her past. As soon as Ekko started to say bye to her viewers, Arisu stood in front of her. When Ekko looked up, he was holding a big white sketch pad with "Smile" written on it. Ekko panicked. She was trying to do that, but as soon as she looked at the screen, her face froze. She closed her eyes tightly, then opened them again when Arisu tapped his pad. This time, the pad had a new message asking if she wanted him to help her. Without letting her viewers hear, Ekko mouthed, "Help me." Arisu smiled and suddenly moved behind her, then stopped the stream. Ekko panicked and immediately scolded him for ending the broadcast. Arisu calmly said her viewers were already leaving anyway. Then he told her to look at herself first. When Ekko looked, she realized she was sweating badly from nerves. Arisu advised her to take off a few layers so she could relax. Ekko gave him a sarcastic comment but hesitantly did what he said. Arisu sat down and teased her about the big promise she made. Ekko pouted and admitted she did not expect to get so nervous. Arisu directly said if she was really serious, she could at least smile. He went further and said her VTuber career was just half-hearted time passing. Hearing this, Ekko lost control. She shouted that he was rude and insisted she was serious about becoming a big VTuber one day. She said she had feelings, she was just scared to show them. Arisu coldly asked if she did not like streaming and said maybe she should just quit. This broke her. Tears came to her eyes, and she cried that she loved streaming and did not want to quit. Then Arisu asked what she liked about streaming. Without thinking, Ekko answered with a shy smile. She said she liked talking with her viewers. She was about to say more when Shinobu suddenly entered the room. She directly said the stream audio was never muted, so everyone heard what Ekko said. After listening to the earlier stream, Nene immediately understood all this was Arisu's doing. Ekko panicked and believed she would be cancelled now. When she looked, she was shocked because the chat was full of comments and her viewers went over 2,000. Shinobu gently said she should at least give her viewers an explanation. Ekko hesitated, suddenly got nervous from so much attention, and felt scared to talk to so many people. Then Arisu reminded her of what he said yesterday, then made a small correction. He explained that sometimes a VTuber's charm got even stronger when she accidentally showed her real self. He told Ekko to end the stream in a good way. Taking a deep breath, Ekko used her model. She jokingly acted like she was firing a forget-it beam at them. This sudden expression surprised everyone. She ended the stream with a shy and nervous smile, and her fans got excited about her new expressions. Later, in the boys' restroom, Arisu got an invite to Ekko's private stream. He joined and calmly said he was watching from the toilet. Ekko ignored that, but admitted she wanted to thank him for her new model. Arisu pretended not to know, but Ekko said she knew he made her angry on purpose. Ekko's avatar, with her soft smile, also said she would keep trying her best. Arisu also smiled and said Ekko's smile was cute, but could not compare to her real smile. Hearing this, Ekko's avatar suddenly went back to a poker face. Behind the screen, Ekko quickly covered her face to stop the face tracking. She tried to calm herself while her face got hot.